President Donald Trump signed the nearly $1 trillion defense bill into law Thursday night. That's the National Defense Authorization Act. It is a record $901 billion in military spending, including pay raises for the troops and new ships and aircraft, billions of dollars in aid to Ukraine. The law also boosts U.S. security commitments in Europe. It limits troop reductions there, and it codifies several of President Trump's Pentagon priorities. And joining me now to discuss this and bring us some other highlight news is Sarah Holliday with the Washington Stand. She's been following today's stories. Sarah, let's start with this one. The president has signed the defense bill, the NDAA, into law. What's in it, and why is it drawing a lot of attention?
Thank you, Jody. The fiscal 2026 NDAA funds the military at $901 billion, which is actually $8 billion more than Trump requested. It includes $800 million for Ukraine, funding for the Baltic states, and restrictions on reducing U.S. forces in Europe. The law also supports missile defense and eliminates certain Pentagon programs, all of which aligns with Trump's priorities. Here's what Senator Roger Wicker, chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, had to say about the bill.
This will be the 65th year in a row, the 65th consecutive year that Congress has come together across the aisle and across two chambers to send the president a bill designed to sustain and strengthen the national defense. And the president will enthusiastically sign the most sweeping upgrades to DoD's business practices in 60 years.
Jody, experts are noting a tension with Trump's usual stance on Europe. The bill strengthens security commitments abroad, which is something he has opposed before. Ultimately, Congress has passed the NDAA every year for 65 years, making it one of the most enduring pieces of U.S. defense legislation. Jody?
Yes, that's one of those must-pass bills. Very interesting. In some other news, Sarah, I wanted to ask you about New York City's Mayor-Elect Zohran Mamdani. One of his top aides resigned literally after just one day on the job. What in the world led to that sudden departure?
Yes, Jody. Catherine Almonte da Costa stepped down as director of appointments after old social media posts surfaced containing anti-Semitic comments. She apologized, saying she deeply regrets the harm she caused and didn't want to distract from the work ahead. Mayor-elect Mamdani, the first Muslim and self-described socialist to be elected mayor, condemned the posts and accepted her resignation. The controversy comes as Mamdani faces criticism over past anti-Israel remarks he's made, which led to struggles in winning support from the Jewish community. Groups like the Anti-Defamation League say the situation highlights the need for transparency and accountability in his upcoming administration. Jody?
Pretty bumpy road getting started there. On some international news, I saw Secretary of State Marco Rubio is saying that the U.S. is pushing for progress on several major Middle East issues. Can you give us the latest of whatever diplomatic actions are involving Israel and Lebanon, Syria, and Gaza, and so forth?
Yes, Jody. Speaking at the State Department today, Secretary Rubio said the U.S. is hopeful talks between Lebanon and Israel will prevent further conflict. He said the goal is a stronger Lebanese government and the eventual disarmament of Hezbollah.
We are hopeful that the talks between Lebanese authorities and the Israelis will create outlines and a way forward that prevents further conflict. I don't speak for the Israeli government. I can only tell you and echo what they've said publicly, and that is that if they feel threatened by Hezbollah, they will take actions in their defense against them. So we all would hope that we could avoid that, right? We would all hope that in order to have peace, you have to avoid that, and the best way to avoid it is to have a strong Lebanese government that can actually control the country, and that Hezbollah is no longer an armed threat to Israel or to the Lebanese state. And that's what we're committed to hoping to achieve.
Secretary Rubio also said that the Trump administration is working to enforce the Gaza ceasefire through a proposed international stabilization force. Meanwhile, the U.S. has officially lifted the most sweeping sanctions on Syria. Known as the Caesar Act, the measures were imposed in 2019 over human rights abuses under former President Bashar Assad. After Assad was ousted late last year, supporters argued these sanctions were blocking reconstruction and economic recovery. Syria welcomed the move today. However, the decision has drawn criticism, with some lawmakers warning that lifting sanctions weakens U.S. leverage. This comes as reports continue of persecution against Christians in Ceuta and concerns grow over religious freedom and protections for Druze, Christians, and other minority communities. Jody.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Appreciate the updates.